at one point now, fast forwarding past some more of that fighting, they do a good job of they've knocked out some of the through some fierce fighting. They've knocked out and they've moved forward and they've holed up, and now they start advancing again. And here we go back to the book. One well-placed, stubborn, hostile machine gun stopped that flank attack cold. So they're attacking and they get stopped by one well-placed machine gun. The German gunner got half of the small squad that tried to rush him through the smoke, and the attackers had to withdraw, dragging their wounded with them. Mortars and artillery left the German undamaged. Rifle grenades couldn't quite hit the narrow slit through which he was firing. 2 grenadiers trying to take extra careful aim had also been hit by concealed German snipers. When the major arrived, it looked as though progress had stopped. Using the battalion radio to the rear command post and the artillery phone from there, he adjusted 18 successive rounds from one gun of the 110th Field Artillery Battalion in a vain attempt to sharpshoot the machine gun out of existence. But he couldn't hit it. And after each round burst on or near the hedgerow, the enemy would reply with a derisive burst. There was only one answer: a tank. And miraculously, a tank appeared. So that's what I'm talking about. He tries with, there's one machine gun that's holding up this situation. He gets on the radio, and Carr's artillery, which is similar to mortars, they're bigger and more powerful, but it's the same thing. It's indirect fire. You're putting rounds far up in the air, and then they're through a big arc that's going thousands and thousands of feet in some cases in the air, and then coming basically straight down on a target. And it's, when I say it's hard to hit a target, he fires 18 rounds to try and hit this machine gun, bunkered in machine gun, can't stop it, can't help it. So he needs a tank, and then miraculously, and if you don't know anything about my incredible affection for tanks and for tankers, because of what they were able to do in the Battle of Ramadi, to not only for themselves but to support and save my guys time and time again, I'm a big fan of tanks. In fact, I love tanks and tankers. That's straight up. Yeah. That's the way it is. And this is why. Right here. Back to the book. One steel monster lumbered up behind Johns, who yelled instructions to the tank commander. The gunner watched carefully while an infantry squad leader fired a clip of tracer bullets at the slit that hid the machine gun, and then swung his short-barreled little 75 into line. It crashed once, and almost simultaneously with the muzzle blast came the crack of white phosphorus shell as it hit the slit. The smoke blossomed up from behind a hedgerow, indicating a direct hit. With that, a single paratrooper came running toward them. A few moments later, everything on the front cut loose. The enemy and the company charged, and another 100 yards of French real estate had changed hands. And then the major wished every machine gunner in his outfit could have seen that position as an illustration of what skill, tenacity, and guts could do to build and defend one machine gun position. So, machine gunners, tanks. Yeah. It's incredible what a machine gun... I mean, you know what a machine gun is, right? I mean, machine guns... Sure. I mean, a normal, like a Mark 48 machine gun, or the old M60, Roger Hayden talk about carrying the 60, right? And our boys, my last deployment to Ramadi, guys are carrying Mark 48s, or Mark 46s, which is a smaller round, a 5.56 round.
M60, that's what Rambo had, right?
That is, in fact,
one hand?
Yes.
And Commando, by the way, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay, I'll take your word for it.
John Matrix, to be exact. That was his name.
Oh, okay. The M60?
Sure.
The belt-fed machine gun?
Hell yeah.
They're not that big of a weapon. I mean, it's big, and believe me, when you're carrying 800 to 1,000 rounds, it's big enough. Sure. But if you think about a whole, a battalion worth of guys are getting stopped by a guy in a machine gun.
Yeah.
In a good position. Now, he had snipers covering him. Oh. 2 snipers apparently were covering him, but that's not many people. That's why when you're on the offense, you need more people than being in a defensive position. You know, when you're in a defensive position and you have time to set up. That's why when you go back to, when you look at Normandy, when you look at this whole, if you look at World War II as a whole, both the Allies and what we did in Normandy, taking the beaches, and what you did every time in the Pacific, taking the beaches, you're going against bunkered positions like this.
Yeah, fully. And
it's just incredible the tenacity that it takes to make this happen.
Yeah. Isn't that the whole, in a way, the whole idea behind guerrilla warfare, where it's like we're not fighting, and then all of a sudden we're fighting, and then we're not fighting.
That is behind guerrilla warfare, but this isn't guerrilla warfare.
Yeah.
Even without sneaking around.
Right.
You're in a uniformed soldier, German, and you go, okay, I'm going to set up a bunkered position on this high ground where I have the enemy channelized in this area, and I have good spread on them, and the only weak spots I've got, I'm going to cover them with snipers.
Yeah.
3 people holding up a battalion. And just think, if then once you get that position, we have mortars already dialed in when you get there that are going to start hitting you. And then the next thing you do is you got to move again. Well, guess what? We got another 3, 4, 5 guys in machine gun positions, mutually supporting each other. That's why these American allied fighting forces and the Americans here and the Americans in the Pacific going against hardened, bunkered positions is incredible.
Yeah.
It's incredible.